Hello and welcome to today's episode of Thrive After 45. I'm Denise Drinkwalter, heart whisperer, midlife mirror, and mentor. And every week I am honored to share energy and space with inspiring guests whose stories reflect so many possibilities of thriving beyond 45. Together, we'll uncover the whispers of the heart, the power of midlife transformation, and the wisdom that fuels expansion. What happens when the very thing that once ruled your life becomes the source of your deepest wisdom? It is an honor and a privilege to welcome Shelley Martinez to our conversation today. Shelley is an anxiety alchemist, and that title is well earned. For much of her early life, anxiety was a daily companion, shaping her inner world from childhood well into adulthood. Rather than accepting it as a life sentence, Shelley went searching for answers that reached far beyond surface level coping. That search led her into the nervous system itself and into nearly 3 decades of transformational work. Shelley is a licensed psychotherapist, life coach, and certified hypnotherapist with 28 years of experience, and she has supported hundreds of women in learning how to tame high functioning anxiety, not just to quiet it, but to fundamentally change their relationship with it. What makes Shelley's work so distinctive is that she doesn't stop at relief. She guides women to reclaim their time, energy, and ease, and then teaches them how to transform anxiety into a superpower, a source of clarity, confidence, and inner authority. If you've ever felt like you looked really calm on the outside while your nervous system is working overtime on the inside, this conversation is going to open up a very powerful new doorway. Shelley, it is so wonderful to have you with us here today.
Thank you. I am so excited to talk to you today, Denise. This is amazing. It's like Christmas.
I love it. I love it. Let's dive into something that really makes me wonder, what is this? When you reference high functioning anxiety, what is it you're referring to? And help us understand what that actually means.
Yeah, I'm so glad you'd asked me that because I think it's very misunderstood in that I call high functioning anxiety regular anxiety's evil twin because it's invisible and
Mm,
we've normalized it, but it really isn't normal
mm,
in that, we've labeled it, and I'll explain more, as kind of just the price of success. And this is just normal. And if you're a high achiever, and of course, this impacts more high achieving women, than it does men or other groups, um, we've kind of accepted like, well, this just must be how I am,
right.
or this is what it takes to be high achieving.
Mm,
And it's absolutely not true. In fact, it's holding us back.
interesting. Very interesting. So, when you talk about it holding us back, what what we're we're going to be honest because we are the show that is open and very transparent. We're having some technical difficulties, so we're going to be just continuing the conversation. And if it gets too bogged down, then we will reconvene. But we want to continue the energy that's happening currently in the room. So, what I think is really valuable in what I heard you say, Shelley, is that we don't even recognize it as high achieving. Let's talk to our audience, which are women, right?
Yeah.
It's, well, if you've got the CEO title, there's going to be stuff that comes with that, right?
Yeah.
I know I used to say that to myself. Well, you're the principal of the building, it's your job. So you just got to, it's just what It's just what it is, Denise. Do it and
Right.
move on.
Suck it up, buttercup.
Right? And so, how on earth do we begin to pull apart so that we don't say, well, it's just part of the job, just got to do. And because your whole nervous system is a mess, right?
Exactly. Exactly. And that's the whole thing, is recognizing that this isn't normal.
Hmm.
This isn't normal. And also another myth is that this is helping me to achieve. And it's actually holding us back.
Right.
And many of us don't realize, but some of the things to look for
Hmm.
are, setting impossibly high standards, people pleasing, perfectionism, procrastination, and then overwork, taking on too much, not being able to say no because you're
Yeah.
afraid of letting people down. And because you're just kind of running so fast, it's like everything becomes a yes because I don't even have time to think about it. And then later
Hmm.
on, I'm going, why did I do that?
Ah,
you
yes.
know, Replaying all your conversations over and over again to nitpick and, well, I should have said that and why did I say that? And checking your email 5, 6 times before you can make yourself send it because it's not
Mm,
perfect. All of those things are signs of high functioning anxiety.
okay.
Physically, there's a lot of insomnia because we're exhausted, but we're wired at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So we
Hmm.
have trouble relaxing. We have a lot of insomnia, muscle aches, headaches, stomach stuff is really common. And, these are all things that are going on under the surface. Of course, on the outside, we are the
Mm-hmm.
go-to people. We are confident, we are calm, we are together. And inside, it feels like our hair's on fire all the time.
Right.
So, we're
Yeah.
always trying to pretend we're okay and manage and cope with it,
Mm-hmm.
which coping actually keeps us stuck and it keeps our nervous system in that fight or flight or stress or survival mode.
Mm-hmm.
Really high functioning anxiety is your nervous system stuck in survival mode,
Okay.
which is not good for you or anything you're trying to do, honestly.
So, I mean, amazing examples. I'm sitting here as I'm listening, going, yep, used to do that, used to do that.
Check,
Yep,
check.
yep.
Yeah. Oh, me too. Me too.
Right, right. So, how do we begin to, after recognizing, start to rein it in? Because, like you shared, when you were running on that operating system, you're actually not doing the best you can do because you're not being the best you possible. So, how? What is a step we need to discover to move forward after recognizing?
Absolutely. So I've developed a 3-step framework,
Mm,
and the first thing we need to do is reframe anxiety. We
mm,
need to understand what it's here for, what its function is, how it helps us, and where it hinders us.
right.
And so based on that, when we interpret it differently, it stops being the enemy. When we get curious and compassionate and kind with ourselves and with this part of ourselves, it's really critical.
Mm-hmm.
That's when we set the stage for change. And then we have to regulate differently. We have to regulate our nervous system differently, come out of that survival mode,
Right.
be able to start to experience, what are we like when we are literally calm, not just seeming calm,
Mm,
right? And confidence stems from that, a
right.
stable, confident foundation.
Right.
And then thirdly, what we want to do is rewire our nervous system so that calm and confidence becomes our foundation, our baseline,
Mm,
our
love that.
habit. Because when you have high functioning anxiety, you basically by default are always anxious,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And it causes so much noise and separates
Mm,
us from ourselves.
right. I can see that. Yeah, I can totally see that. So you two people in one body. So that in
Hmm.
itself is going to be causing strain and stress, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah. So, in your experience, what do you think the number one challenge that women face in terms of this high functioning anxiety? And then you've given some ideas, but how do you help them overcome it? I know the three steps is very powerful, very
Well,
powerful.
and broad. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
in this context, right? But
Yeah.
I think the number one challenge is for women to recognize that this is anxiety and they don't have to stay here. We
Mm,
have these myths that we all kind of, I don't know, have adopted somehow from the air or the culture that say, I'll just power on through it and it'll get better,
yeah.
which it doesn't.
Hmm.
It can't. I mean, that's the definition of insanity, right? Doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. And
Exactly.
coping with it actually teaches us to stay in it because
Mm,
coping with it is about getting through the moment, powering through. And don't get me wrong, it serves a purpose. It helps temporarily, right?
okay.
It
Yep.
restores a sense of control and order and helps us to get through these moments and manage. But what it's doing on the backside is it's telling our nervous system that we're only okay if we're in control,
Mm,
that it's dangerous out here and we've got to be hyper vigilant and managing it all the time. Otherwise, something bad is going to happen. So it's like you had a leaky boat and you just kept bailing the water with the coping instead of patching
right.
the hole, which is healing. If
Right.
you patch the hole, it stops filling up all the time,
Right.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so for us to recognize that we've been fed a line basically about
Hmm.
this. And this notion, secondly, that, well, I'm just an anxious person, which is
Yeah.
what I thought about myself for a while because I
Hmm.
was anxious since I was a child. I
Yeah.
have a memory in kindergarten of my teacher telling me I was going to get ulcers. And I had no idea what that meant, but it sounded really bad,
Oh.
right? But it also convinced me, like, okay, how I am not only is not normal, but it's a problem for people. And I
Oh.
need to stuff it. I need to push it down. And so then it became high functioning anxiety, where it was there, but boy, nobody knew.
Nobody knew.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. And anxiety is a feeling, it's not a personality trait. There are people who respond
Oh.
habit-wise with anxiety. Yeah, but they're not really anxious people. We don't have an anxiety problem. We have a nervous system stuck in survival mode.
Mm.
And I think those are the biggest things to work through, are these beliefs that block us in from getting change and getting help. And it couples with the issue of a lot of the work out there, the advice really just works on the surface. So
Yeah.
it doesn't work very well for a lot of us.
Hmm.
It addresses symptoms on the surface, but it doesn't deal with what's coming up underneath.
Right.
And I know for myself and many of my clients that just, things would work for a week or maybe not at all,
Yes.
or a month, and then we'd be right back where we started,
Yeah. Yeah. S-
you know.
Getting at the root cause. And isn't that interesting? Thank you for sharing that, Shelley, because I I can put my hand up. I know my audience can put their hand up when we say, "Can you remember a time when somebody said something to you that really you can't erase it from your memory bank because it impacted not just what you heard, but it landed. The seed was planted, and then you, without even really realizing it, like kindergarten, what, you're five, 4 or 5? Huge. And I am sure that teacher meant no harm
Oh,
specifically by
yeah.
saying that, but it doesn't
Yeah,
matter, right? One person can make a difference in another's life, and one sentence can take such a hit on another person, right? And so
absolutely.
think about that. Like, I can think of, I used to tell students in a classroom, I'd ask them, so let's think back, grade 2, that math test. Do you remember what you got on a math test? And what? And I said, do you remember when somebody hurt your feelings by some? Oh yeah, I remember what they wore. I remember what they, right? And so
Yeah,
we carry these pieces. And so what you're referring to, if I'm understanding properly, is that we need to heal those parts of us that have been hurt and damaged beyond thinking about, well, it's the other person's fault. It's going into that healing mode and really being at one with, I'm going to be okay. And this is where it might be stemming from, right?
yes. No, absolutely. Absolutely. And especially those early experiences, because those go
Mm.
straight into our subconscious, and they become rules because our subconscious doesn't have any ability to filter and say, well, you were probably driving your teacher nuts, but she didn't mean anything
Right.
negative by this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you were, driving her nuts temporarily. She didn't
Mhm.
dislike you. She wasn't saying how you were wasn't okay, that kind of thing. Your subconscious doesn't have the ability. It takes everything at face value,
Face value. Yes.
and that forms so many of the rules that we live by. Our
Mhm.
subconscious runs about 95% of our life. What we think, feel, say, do, decide, believe, on and on and on and on. And yet we rarely think about it. And
Right.
so that's where the rewiring comes in, is really healing those parts of ourselves so
Mhm.
that we can have a new narrative.
Mhm. Absolutely. And deserving of such,
Oh, you bet.
right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Hmm.
We are all deserving of that,
Hmm.
and need to recognize that at any moment,
Yeah.
we are doing the best we can do right then. And it
Hmm.
may not be the best we can ever do, but in that moment, that was the best we had. And that's okay
Yeah.
because we're human.
Yeah.
And it's okay to want to, shift and change and grow where we can. And to do that, we need that kindness, curiosity, and compassion. Those are big foundations for my work because
Hmm.
without that, nothing shifts. If being mean to ourselves worked, we'd be perfect by
Right.
now.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And isn't it something that we as humans, and in particular women, the self chat, the self, conversation that we have inside of our thoughts, the majority of it is not positive and uplifting. It's all about you should have, could have, would have, why, all
Yeah.
the negative. So I love the work that you do because you help rewire that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's the goal because our brain literally has a negativity bias, which makes sense if you think about it from evolutionary terms. If there's 100 berries, and I like this will bring back, but there's 100 berry bushes out in the forest that we collect from, right?
Okay.
But
Hmm.
one of them has snakes under it. We need to remember which one had snakes under it
Got it.
when we go out, right?
Yep.
And in modern day times, unfortunately, some of these strategies that make a lot of sense when you look way back don't serve us here and now. So that's analogous to 100 people told me good things, and
Mm.
one person told me something critical, and I focus on the critical person
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
you know, because we haven't adjusted the way we need to. And there are ways to help our mind and our subconscious and our nervous system to adjust and overcome some of that bias for sure, to make calm a bias, to make
Mm.
compassion for ourselves the bias and the habit.
Oh,
And
thank you
that's my
for that.
goal.
Thank you for that work. It is so needed. So needed in the world we live in today. We've got, excuse me, so many exterior negative forces at work that are beyond our control, but we are consuming it in a way that I don't think is always very healthy because we don't see the light at the end of the tunnel concept. We see the dark and gloomy. So your work
Yeah.
is so valuable in so many ways, so many levels. Thank you for all of it. Yeah.
I'm really passionate about it
Mm-hmm.
because, I was there. I get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I believe that women are going to heal and change the world. And
Mm.
especially those of us who have, passed that point of 45. So we're not as focused on
Yeah.
raising little kids that need their milk poured for them.
Right.
We're more settled within our career, within our lives. But that's when things really open up to us, possibilities. And it's like, wait a minute, what do I really want to do with this?
Right.
What do I really want to be doing? And not that we didn't want to have our career and our
Of
family and all
course.
of those things, but I think there's time that's freed up for us
Yeah.
at this stage in our life. There's time, there's energy
Yeah.
that allows so much possibility. And if we're going to heal the world and change it in positive ways, which I believe
Hmm.
women will, we need to not be weighed down with all our emotional baggage, all the old
Totally.
stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's my mission, is to help as many women as possible to be able to put those things down
Hmm.
so that they can go and live a juicy life,
Yeah.
whatever that means for them.
Absolutely. And it's the whole context of our show, isn't it? It's this is
Yes.
for you, by you, because of you. And I love how you shared, you're um at a different part in your timeline of life. So it doesn't mean that what you've done prior is not okay or not right. It was absolutely in alignment with where you were on the trajectory of that timeline,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Totally.
But we're also allowed to change our minds in terms of our focus and, giving ourselves permission or even the ability to ask the question. Because so
Yeah.
often we don't ask questions because we're
Hmm.
so busy. We're in that, kind of hamster wheel sort of life.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. The door is opening for possibilities through your lens of curiosity, which I absolutely love. I think life is so beautiful when we come through it via the lens of curiosity instead of what should I or oh, my expectations are, right? When we create that
Mhm.
curiosity lens, it lightens the load just by thinking that way, doesn't it? Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's why I think your work too is so important because there's so much potential for us here,
Yeah.
at
Totally.
this point in our lives.
Hmm. Yeah, there is. And when we are grounded and centered in our new way of being with the calm, clarity, mindset, subconscious work, we have a nicer opportunity to move with more fluidity, don't we?
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. Unencumbered,
Yeah.
think of it like all that old junk kind of
Yeah.
this idea of a red wagon, the red wagons with the black and white wheels that many of us had as kids. And I
Yeah.
feel like when stuff goes wrong in our lives, which inevitably does, we all have stuff, right? Then it puts rocks in those wagons. And
Hmm.
it's hard to pull those wagons. It's harder and
Hmm.
harder and harder to get in places. And so if we can take the rocks out, boy, to quote Dr. Seuss, all the places we will go, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. And why not? Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
you've got this precious and wild life. Do it.
Yeah. Nothing to lose, everything to
Mhm,
gain.
mhm,
Absolutely.
mhm.
Absolutely. Is there any, I know we've touched on so much, but is there anything you would love to leave our audience with as we get ready to close this conversation?
Well, two things.
Mm-hmm.
First off, I want them to know that however long, however much they've struggled in their anxiety, it is never, ever too late to change. That can be shifted no matter what, no matter where you're at.
Thank you.
And if other things have not worked so well for you, you're not
Yep.
broken. It doesn't mean that you're broken.
Yeah.
Because, I know I felt that way for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
There must be something wrong with me. And that's not really the case
Mm.
because we just need to come at it at a different angle.
Yeah.
And also wanted to offer your audience a
Mm-hmm.
free mini class it's got four really good relaxation tools to help you in the moment. Three of them work in under a minute to bring more calm and confidence to your life. Because once you're calm, confidence follows. We always think, oh, well, I'll get confidence somehow. But no, you've got to feel calm first.
Mm-hmm.
You have to soothe the body before you can soothe the mind. Always. Always, 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 or at least at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's got some of my favorite, really easy, really powerful tools to get
Nice.
started on this journey for anyone who's
Mm.
interested in doing that.
Wonderful. And we will have all this information in the show notes. So make sure you check out the show notes and how to contact Shelley to have deeper conversation. And I am so honored to have shared this time with you. I just love the work that you do. And I'm so grateful that unfortunately your life took you to the point that you had to really understand the depths of the anxiety that you experienced. But I always believe there's a purpose and a reason for everything. And I think it was meant to be so that you could come out and do the beautiful work that you do now, supporting people to be high functioning without that extra anxiety and to become calm
Yeah,
and confident and very clear on who you are as a person first and the job secondary and the relationship secondary, but relationship to self is pivotal. So,
it's
yeah.
everything. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Once you get that done, then you discover, and thank you for your compassion towards me. But it really, that's the point where it becomes a superpower,
Yes.
is when you've healed it and rewired it, and it's something that works for you instead of against you,
Mm,
which is amazing. And it's wonderful to see in folks.
yeah. And thank you for leading the way in that.
Thank you. It has been such a joy to talk with you, Denise.
You too. You too. So, again, we'll have all the information in the show notes. Make sure you check it out. Get that free resource. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to get my hands on it. I know that for sure. I'm so excited. Before we close, I do want to share something gently. I am currently stewarding the early formation of a live in person experience called Ignite, the Inner Uprising. And it's being created for women in midlife who feel the quiet pull towards something more truthful, more embodied, more their own. It isn't an event I'm rushing or loudly promoting. It's just being built slowly with care and very deep respect for the women in midlife whom it's meant to serve. So if your body leaned in at any point today during our conversation, if something here resonated beyond words, just know this, that there will be a place to gather. For now, simply stay connected, follow, like, share, give us your reviews so more women can find us. And when the timing is right, you will hear more about Ignite the Inner Uprising. Have an incredible day.